Can we expect to see the Gupta brothers back in our country soon? Well, let's bring in extradition expert and former Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate JJ Du Toit, to give us more details. Advocate, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure you were privy to that conversation that my colleague Avu Mdila was having with Professor Tladi there from UP. And I wonder if you have anything different to say. The obvious question is how long? I think South Africans want to know, how long will we see them in our courts and eventually in orange overalls?
Good afternoon to you and to your viewers. I must say I've listened to it, and to be honest, I really haven't got anything contrary to what the Prof has said. You know, he's an expert man. He knows the issues, and I think you know, the process of extradition normally takes long. You know, I was myself involved in many extradition applications here in South Africa, so I know the process. As the Prof has said, you know, we don't know specifically the legal system, how it operates in Dubai, for example. You know, the NPA, as I said this morning in their statement, they now preparing their documentation for this application. They must basically set out their case, and according to the treaty, we have, in this instance, because it's clear it's now that we know now it's been an arrest on a red notice. So South Africa has got 60 days to prepare their final extradition application. Now, in that application must be the evidence relating to the red notice, because on the red notice, they were arrested. So there must be some crimes. It's probably the Bloemfontein case, where money laundering and fraud, but the NPA can also add additional charges to the Bloemfontein case. Now, the NPA said it very clearly this morning, you know, I was also working there, that it is a complex issue, and it is indeed a complex issue. And I think we must give the NPA now the opportunity and the time to prepare their papers. But I know they will do it with the necessary diligence, and then the next phase will be the 60 days where we will have to finalize our what counts do we want extradition on, including the cases in Bloemfontein, and also another matter is we will have to translate that extradition application in Arabic language, which sometimes takes time, but I think this is a priority case and it will be done quickly. So I think next timeline 60 days, and then we will see what happened in court and how the process evolves from there.
And is today day 1 of 60, Advocate?
It's normally 60 days since arrest, you know. So, you know, the red notice, remember the red notice is not an extradition application. It's just a notice saying we're looking for you. So South Africa will file the necessary papers now to ask for what we call provisional arrest and extradition. So we're interested in the matter. We will file a short application normally in cases like this to say we want a provisional arrest, and the 60 days start from the day that the authorities arrest them on our application for provisional arrest. That's normally where the 60 days kick off.
In terms of the Guptas, when the red notice was issued, obviously they got their lawyer to say that they want to challenge that. That didn't work. Now that they've been arrested, what legal avenues do they have, you know, to try and avoid actually facing trial or accountability in South Africa?
Yeah, you correctly said that. Remember now, it's now the extradition application itself will be a much more detailed document. You basically have to set out your case, the evidence, you know, normally a draft indictment and all other aspects of your case. Now, I think I can't speak on behalf of their counsel, but I think one can just imagine that the same issues that they raised when they challenged the red notice will probably be also raised during the court proceedings in Dubai. You know, it's sometimes very technical issues because, you know, they scrutinize this documentation with a fine
Advocate, I just want to pick your brain a little bit. I know that, law is more of your expertise, but I'm sure you heard Professor Tladi saying that it looks like the UAE has a desire to extradite the Gupta brothers to South Africa. He says that they've shown this and how fast they've, signed the treaty, and they're a country that doesn't necessarily like to do that, but this time they did. Could this be because they're trying to save their reputation, or is it just a simple thing of wanting to strengthen bilateral relations with South Africa?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's a good question. As I say, I'm not a politician, but I think the fact that they acted on the red notice says something to me. Remember, that red notice wasn't issued yesterday. That red notice was issued quite some time ago. We don't know yet about the facts. Where did they arrest them? Was it at their house? Were they on their way to catch a plane? We don't know those facts yet. That will probably come out in the court when their lawyers will probably ask for some bail application, so that they can release pending the filing of all the papers. But I agree with Professor Tladi. Normally, when you deal with a case like that, the fact that you're a fugitive and that it is against you. But I cannot talk about it. I don't know exactly how the legal system works in Dubai. All that I can say, it's completely different from what we do here in South Africa. We follow the common law basically, and their system is completely different. So the procedure, how they're going to deal with that, will be quite interesting to follow.
It will indeed. Thank you very much, Advocate, for your time. That was Advocate JJ Du Toit. And as you heard from him, the NPA now has 59 and a bit more days to actually put together their papers to put their case to the UAE.